And check out Menards.com for all of our hot deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, April 22nd. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We're going to look back at the spring game that happened on Saturday. We're going to hear from you as well. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So spring game is over now. Got a chance to see what the Thundering Herd might look like in the fall. Still a lot of work to do. I think that's the first thing we have to say, to be fair. It was a low-scoring affair. I don't think we were expecting a high-scoring affair to begin with. It was a short game, but it was still more of a game format than just a practice, which I thought was nice. We actually got to see some game situations and basic play calling. I wasn't expecting to see the entire playbook. I don't even think they have the entire playbook. Coach Huff talked about that, just the fact that it's base plays right now. They can work on that. We'll hear more from him later on. And we've got to update the transfer portal as well. We'll do that when we get really deep into the spring game and then the aftermath of that. Also, one thing that did stand out to me was the play of Colin Parachek. Could be in the running for the starting job as a quarterback. We're going to hear from him. And then offensive lineman Bryce Ramsey, we're going to hear from him as well. But I do want to get the text line going, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So you've been to the spring game now. You went to it. After the spring game, are you now more optimistic, less optimistic, or about the same when it comes to the start of the upcoming season? Where are you at right now? You got three choices. Again, are you more optimistic? Are you less optimistic? Or are you just about the same as you were going into the spring game? And we'll get those texts in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It was a busy weekend on campus. Not only did you have the spring game, of course, you had over 130-some alum show back up. Took about 30 minutes to go through all the names, all the people that were here at halftime, and it was fun to go through the generations. So I know a lot of Herd fans enjoyed that. And, of course, we also had sports going on around the football stadium. Of course, baseball had a series with App State. Won the first game and then lost the next two. Won that first one 4-2. I felt a little optimistic, and then they lost a close one 3-1. To App State, and then App State beat them in the finale 12-2. So Marshall's now 13-26, 6-12 in the Sun Belt. Baseball could use a few more wins, and I thought App State was a beatable team. And, of course, the first 2 days, close games. Just the third game, some days you're going to have games like that where the pitching just doesn't stand up, and teams are just going to blow you out. Same thing happened with softball. Softball went 1-2 against Coastal this weekend. Lost the first one 7-1, then picked up the win 9-4. And then the last one, I hate to see when it happens, it got called in 5. It was a 12-3 defeat. Marshall softball now 21-23, 7-11 in Sun Belt play. Some good news, though, for the weekend. Marshall tennis finishing the weekend strong. Now the number 2 seed in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. So we'll see if John Mercer's squad can get to the final and maybe win that. Easier path now as the number 2 seed. You don't have to play right away. So that's the good news that came out of the weekend. Of course, we got to see some football. White versus black. And I know some people were still a little annoyed by the fact it was the white jerseys and the black jerseys, even though the explanation was put out there that, look, we don't have enough green to go around just yet. We got enough white. We got enough black. The green jerseys are gifted after the bowl game we don't have enough jerseys, so we got to go with the blacks. We have plenty of those. And really, the game isn't branded as the green-white game anymore. It's a spring game. You kind of reflect that as well. I get it. That annoyed some people over the weekend. It's a spring game. I'm not worried about that. I don't know why people are getting upset about the black being introduced as part of the color scheme. I like it. I think it's a nice complementary color. It's not as bad as Oregon with all the color changes that program does. They have new gear every single day, it felt like, for a long time. So, outside of that, I think it was a good weekend. I don't think anybody really had anything bad to say about the weekend. We got to see a little bit of glimpse of what this team might look like. We got to see a little bit about the defense as well. I thought defense was all right. We'll hear more from Coach Huff this week about the defense, but I thought the offense, on what we saw Saturday, I think we saw what we should have expected. Something that was base, something that wasn't going to blow your mind, and it was functional. This was still a functioning practice. It was in scrimmage form. It was in game format, but it was still a functioning practice. So I didn't think Coach Huff was just going to open up the playbook and go, all right, let's chuck it down the field here. Instead, I think you got to see a really not structured practice, but a really free-flow practice with limited play calling. And you also got to see maybe some glimpses, some guys that really stood out. I think Parachek stood out for me. He was one of the guys that I had on my list. And also a guy that entered the transfer portal that was on my list, Antonio Robinson, had that 46-yarder, threw that into coverage, also had a score. So he's now in the transfer portal, has a good performance. And Coach Huff even mentioned him on Saturday after the game was over, talking a little bit more about what we actually saw out there. He explains it better. It was basically base offense is what we got from the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, well, what you saw today was 4 plays, or 6 plays if you count the 2 runs we were able to run. But I think it's fun. I think you watch the guys, they actually have fun out there. I'm not saying the old offense wasn't fun, but I think the guys have fun. I think the guys understand that this offense is going to be more of a there's some base stuff in it. So when you're only running 4 base passes, it kind of limits you. But it's really predicated on game plan adjustment. So if we know we're playing X, Y, and Z school, there's going to be certain plays that we're going to be able to get to that we can kind of predict, hey, 1 to 2 to 3 from a read perspective. I think, again, it's fun because it's up tempo. I think it gives guys a chance, like Marcel, to go make a play. I think it gives guys a chance. I think Antonio Robinson made a huge play, in the middle. I think it's, you say air raid and you kind of get in the mindset of, you're going to throw it, which you are. But the run game becomes more explosive. You got a chance for running backs to really get out in the open field, make some people miss. So I would say the best description is going to be fun. And when I say fun, not like we're going to Chuck E. Cheese, but fun like, these guys are really, stretching the field different ways. There's creativity in what we're doing, building off one stage to the next, to the next, to the next.
Is Chuck E. Cheese even fun anymore? This is a side note to his comments. Is Chuck E. Cheese even fun anymore? Who goes to Chuck E. Cheese? You can text that in if you go to Chuck E. Cheese. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to hear a lot more from Coach Huff about the game. We'll talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. We'll hear from Colin Parachek. Also, today we're going to hear a little bit from Bryce Ramsey on his performance. Also, he had some things to say about that Marshall defense. I thought it was a good perspective. We're going to hear all of that. And we're going to hear from you, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 after the spring game. Where are you at? More optimistic, less optimistic, or are you about the same? We'll hear from Coach Huff We'll hear from you when we continue on this edition of Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on Menard's unbeatable selection of Atlas roofing products. Atlas shingles have the curb appeal you're looking for and the protection you deserve. Castlebrook, Briarwood, and Pinnacle shingles feature a limited lifetime warranty, up to 130 mile per hour wind warranty, and a super wide design for fast installation. Choose from 20 styles in stock, ready to take home today. And check out Menards.com for all of our hot deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From NCAA basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% to help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garton, 304-525-1116. In Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100. And in Cerrito, Aaron Billups, 304-453-4600.
Sunflower Seeds will host an I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K Saturday, May 18th at Ritter Park. It starts at 9 o'clock. Visit TriStateRacer.com to register. T-shirts, canvas bags, and other items, part of the $25 pre-registration fee. Sunflower Seeds Incorporated is a tri-state area nonprofit established to raise awareness and resources for humanitarian aid to Ukrainian refugees. 17 million Ukrainians are in need of aid, and most of the refugees are women and children who want to remain near their Ukrainian homeland. To date, Sunflower Seeds has raised $40,000 and over 13,000 pounds of food and medical supplies have been delivered across 6 trips to Poland and beyond. Again, to be part of this I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K May 18th at Ritter Park at 9 o'clock, visit TriStateRacer.com to register.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Time to get that text line open. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Where are you at after the spring game? More optimistic, less optimistic, or are you about the same as far as this Marshall football team is concerned? We're going to get your text in here in just a moment. We got a lot of turnover today. Portal players are leaving. There's some offers out there. The one thing we've been waiting for is basketball news. Basketball news is something that has been few and far between when it comes to what's been happening. Well, there is a little news today. Just happened just a few minutes ago, and so I don't have all the details just yet, but Michael Dawson committed to the University of Akron. If you remember his career, former Huntington High and Huntington Prep star, and so he is coming back. So he put out on Twitter just a few minutes ago that heard you, see y'all in the cam, got the emojis going on, and has a picture of him in a Marshall jersey and committed. Shout out to my friend Luke Creasy over at HD Media for giving me the heads up on that one. So a little basketball news to start your drive home. That's good. I can't wait to see what happens with the Marshall basketball roster and if we're going to see more names come out anytime soon. Let's focus on, of course, the spring game. Text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Coach Huff said that the air raid is fun. It's not like Chuck E. Cheese fun. Texter said that I should download Chuck E. Cheese Hell by Tim Wilson. Okay, I'm going to go find that. I don't think I've heard that. I don't know if it's playable on air, but we're going to go find out what Chuck E. Cheese Hell is all about. It's by Tim Wilson. So I appreciate the heads up on that. Back to our text line. Texter says, Paul, just like what you said, it's a complimentary color. Quit shoving it down our throats. Hashtag boo for black. Fans do not like the black taking over the green. Texter also said that I was really surprised, Paul, that the black team did not wear the black helmets. I mean, I'm going to color coordinate. I think the black helmet should be special. I like the special helmet they do, especially for the 75 game. I think you can use it. It can be a special color. I don't know if you're going to go with it as your primary. I know why they did it for the end zones. It pops more on television. I'm going to give them credit for that one. The field, you look at it on TV, those end zones pop. I get it. I threw out there a couple years ago, Coach Huff was asking, like, when they were having the online fan poll, hey, what color do you want the end zones? He's like, what do you vote for? I said, well, it's Kelly Green. He's like, well, the field's Kelly Green. I'm like, no, Coach. I voted for the Kelly Green ends. I'm sort of a traditionalist. I like the Kelly Green. It's something that I think Herd fans are really passionate about. And I don't want to belabor the point, but I've told this story before. I've had people come up to me and they would introduce themselves, and they're among the older fans, and they would tell me, hey, look, I don't like any other shade of green. You see my shirt here is an older shirt. It's the Kelly Green. This was really during the prime when Marshall wasn't rolling with the Kelly Green. So we have talked about the colors. Let's talk about the football itself. Of course, we talked a little bit about Coach Huff, what we saw on Saturday. He talked about that base offense. And what's next now? You get that installed. He's seen some of the wow stuff. We might have not seen that much of the wow, so temper your expectations, even though I did ask you if you're more optimistic, less optimistic, or if you're about the same when it comes to the upcoming season. But I would say temper expectations from Saturday because we didn't get to see the wow stuff. Coach talked about just working on the base stuff, and he's seen what that wow stuff looks like, and he goes into a little bit more detail as far as what's next.
I go to practice every day, so I know some of the wow stuff that can happen. But I do think before you can get to any of that, you got to be able to operate base stuff, and it limits you when you got one intermediate, one over the middle, one deep ball. But if you can operate that at high levels, you'll be real successful. He was talking to, when he was explaining the offense to the staff, he said, Coach Leach really didn't game plan. He just called the base stuff over and over and over. And if you execute it right, it works. And that's really what it is. I mean, obviously, you got to kind of have a, third down, short yard, whatever it may be, but you should be able to call the base stuff and it should be able to execute versus any coverage, any look. I think our quarterback's got a good grasp of it. I think this summer is going to be huge for those guys because now we know the offense. Now, how do we master it? That's the next step, right? We know it like if we read it in a book, we know what's on page 1, 2, and 3. But now how do we go out and anticipate? How do we go out and kind of speed our minds up? So now we know where the ball's going before the ball snaps. We know what happens post-snap if something changes, where to go to. That's going to be the next step in the summer.
I think we'll get to the wow stuff. I'm hopeful that we get to the wow stuff. That's the whole point of this. I think the running game is going to be a little bit more explosive. He talked a little bit more about that. We're going to hear some of that in just a minute. Let's go back to the text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, the optimism is the same as last week. Still flying high after the OC change after last season. So same means I'm still there. I'm on board. I'm optimistic. Where are you at? More optimistic, less optimistic? Yeah, the same. And the same could be I'm really optimistic right now. So that does count. I appreciate that text. What Coach Huff think about the game? Where does he fit when it comes to more optimistic, less optimistic, or same? Where does he fit? Well, he was happy. He said the game was awesome.
Awesome. Obviously, we held some guys, had some pitch counts on some guys. Offense probably had 6 plays. Defense probably had 4 plays, So what I wanted to see was how guys responded in the arena, how guys actually went out and played the game without, knowing this is the next period or next play that's coming up, how guys competed. I think you saw this team's going to be special. I think you see they like each other. They like each other. They celebrate each other's successes. We've probably done the best job since we've been here of kind of bringing the team together as far as the culture piece. You say that all the time, but that's a big piece. The new guys, the old guys, the high school guys, they've all blended together well.
So I would think he is either same or more optimistic in his evaluation. If he was already pretty high, I don't know if he could be higher, but I'll give him same or more optimistic as far as what he thinks of the team. One of the things we were all excited about, wanted to find out more about, what's the quarterback battle going to look like? Well, you had opportunity to see Cole Pennington. You had opportunity to see Colin Parachek. You had some opportunity to see some other guys. And, of course, if you haven't been following transfer portal news, TJ McMahon, quarterback for the Thundering Herd, announcing that he will be entering the transfer portal. So that's out there today. And Coach was pretty happy as far as what the quarterback play was. I think we all were happy with what Cole was able to do, and I think we were all excited about Parachek as well. We're going to have a quarterback battle coming up to the start of football season, and I like it. But here's Coach in general talking about the quarterback play.
I thought we got a chance to really evaluate some guys today. I thought, obviously, quarterbacks did some good things. It was really good to see Ja'Kai Long kind of do some good things in a scrimmage situation. He's been progressing really well. Same with Colin Parachek. He's been here before, but he's progressed really well in the new offense. And then I think you saw Cole and Braxton in spurts make some really good plays. And I think what happens is as we get closer to deciding, okay, well, who's the starter quarterback or who's the ones and the twos, you start to really refine the offense around their skill set, But I thought both of them did some good things. Both of them probably got some plays they love to have back.
I think that's fair because, again, it's the spring game. Now, this is for you as a fan to get a glimpse of what the team looks like, build some excitement. And as for the players, it's an opportunity in a less than full game to go out, practice. It is a practice, so there's still opportunity for you to show up and have a bright moment to be evaluated. A lot of work still to be done, but positive on the quarterbacks, as I mentioned, TJ McMahon in the transfer portal, according to several reports today. In general, what did Coach Huff think about the receiving core? That's important. You could have the best quarterback out there, but if nobody's there to catch it, he's just going to be a target for the defense eventually. What do you think about the receivers on Saturday?
I think you saw some of our receivers make some plays. The big number 16 is not a tight end. He's not a DN. He is a receiver. I think you saw some of his skill sets flash. I think you saw the running backs. Jordan Houston's a newcomer that ran hard, did some good things up front. We held some O-linemen that were waiting to kind of put them in the right position from a health standpoint moving into the summer. Ozzie is the old man that we held him today just out of union rules. But it was good. It got a lot of the young guys, a lot of reps, which was really good. So really proud of the entire day. I thought the coaching staff did a really good job. A lot of this is new. I mean, everything from pregame routine to sideline organization. A lot of it's new for everybody. So really pleased with where we are. Obviously, I haven't got the medical report, so I don't know. The biggest thing for me is always to get out of these games healthy so we can continue to progress and take the next steps.
I'm going to move him to more optimistic. I think same wouldn't be fair. I think I'm going to move him to more optimistic. And, of course, he mentioned number 16. It was Christian Fitzpatrick, wide receiver, 6'4". Previous school was Michigan State. So not a tight end, he said. Text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. The texter writes in and says, Paul, cautiously optimistic. I love the idea of the air raid offense, way past due to change up how we run our offense. The jury is still out on whether this coaching staff can make the calls during the game, in my mind. And I think that's fair. You can change the offense up. Coach Huff dialing up the right offense. Is his coaching staff dialing up the right play? That's an important lesson to be learned soon. Is this a more befitting system for this Marshall coaching staff and this team? We'll talk more about what Coach Huff wants to see from the quarterbacks. We'll hear from Colin Parachek. It felt good for him on Saturday, he said. We'll hear from him. And our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
You know, there's something about a truck you can count on and that SUV that's been on every family vacation for a decade. TikTok Tire and Uniroyal know your truck or family car is only as reliable as the tires underneath it. And that's why Uniroyal made the Laredo AT Tire and HT Tire to be the tires you trust. You know, like you trust your truck, your SUV, or TikTok Tire. Uniroyal Laredo AT and Laredo HT. See where 130 years of value takes you. For more information, stop into TikTok Tire, 2102 3rd Avenue, Huntington, right across from the stadium, or call 304-525-7831.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, and baked lasagna. Giovanni's has the best sandwiches around, from the stromboli, Italian sub, calzones, and their signature Big Red. All dinners will be served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's Pizza, fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Thanks for being a part of today's edition of the show. Paul Swann, your host here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is going to be 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Spring game concluded on Saturday. We got a chance to see a little bit more about the Thundering Herd, what the team might look like in the fall, and that's what I've been asking you today. How do you feel after going to the game or watching the Herd? Do you feel more optimistic? You feel about the same, or are you even less optimistic than you were going into the game? That's our question today, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're still talking a little bit about the quarterbacks. I think that's probably the biggest question a lot of people had. What's the quarterback play going to look like? Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Cole Pennington? Is it going to be Colin Parachek? Is it going to be someone else? I think Pennington and Parachek are going to be battling for that starting job, and I'm happy that there's going to be a battle for the quarterback position. And I felt good watching Parachek out there. I felt really good. I thought Cole did some things. I thought Parachek did some things. There's still a lot of room to improve. That's obvious, but I felt good. And that's, I think, where a lot of people were, at least on social media. That was kind of the vibe I was getting from you on Saturday, that you felt that the quarterback position was going to be fine. You liked what Parachek was doing out there. And that's something that I think Coach Huff even agreed about as far as the quarterback play. He wants to see, though, more consistency with his quarterbacks moving forward. I think that's going to have a big part of what is going to be ultimately the winning formula for the starter. Consistency.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is we got to start stringing consistency together. I think if you look today, there were moments when you were like, wow. Then there were moments where you were like, and now it's not all the quarterbacks, obviously. But we got to start stringing consistency together. I think we're doing a really good job with leadership. Braxton and Cole and all the quarterbacks have leadership skills. I think they have a great knowledge of the game. I think what happens right now is they're waiting to see it happen instead of anticipating and trusting. So those would be the next two steps, the consistency and the trust. Part of that is, you got to be throwing to the same receiver. We're in the spring and you're throwing to 18 different guys. A little bit different. His slant's a little bit different. Now, it should be the same, but when you get a reaction, he reacts a little bit different. So those would be the two biggest things, consistency, and then obviously the timing, anticipating the throws when they're there. The couple turnovers we had, we left the ball inside. You can't do that. Those are the things that we got to eliminate so we can build on the positives.
Coach Huff, wanting to see a little bit more consistency. Texter writes in and says, Paul, they're going to be just fine. I agree. I think they're going to be fine. I wasn't looking for, the game format wasn't going to allow it anyway, but I wasn't looking for video game scores here. I thought what we saw was Marshall running base offense, and I thought that we saw some really good performances out there. Cole Pennington, I think he's in the mix. I think Colin Parachek's in the mix. And, of course, Parachek had a chance to catch up with us after the game. And just kind of getting his general thoughts on how it went out there, he said it felt good. And he was pretty pleased with his performance.
It was good. Obviously, just another opportunity, 15th practice really of the spring, just a chance to go out and compete. kind of master the offense, get everything down, and just kind of one last chance to vibe together. Obviously, you get in the spring game, you get a little bit more juice going with it, but at the end of the day, it's just another opportunity to get better. It was fun to get with the guys and score some points.
Yeah, so he had some success out there, and it felt good to him. And he was asked about what was working for him when comparing. I mean, let's be fair. This is a whole new system. This is going to be completely different than what they're used to, even from last year. There's really not too much you can take from last year and translate it to this year, I don't think. And he was pretty happy with everything that went into getting him ready, and he was pretty optimistic about what was working for him.
Yeah, for sure. They were good calls by Coach Miller, and really just got one-on-one matchups and let my guys go make plays. I mean, he said put the ball where it needed to be, but had to, a young freshman receiver and a little bit older sophomore receivers go make a play for us. And at the end of the day, in this offense, that's what you're going to need. Give the guys opportunities and then go make plays for us and end up working out for us today.
Yeah. He had guys who went out there and made plays, play calling he liked. And he thinks that this system is fun. I think that's the big key. That's going to be the big takeaway. They're having fun. They want to go out there and play in this system. They want to have fun. And that was my takeaway when he talked about the new system and how fun it was.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. Obviously, on the quarterback, just got to reads are sacred, go through everything. And as long as you take your time and work through it, there should always be somebody open. And O-line, obviously, really important. They did a great job today, giving us time to be able to throw the ball around the field a little bit. So with the pieces and how everything's meshing together, it's been a lot of fun. Just excited to get rolling into the fall with it.
So that's been the theme, fun. What is really the philosophy here? What's changed? I think you're going to like this answer. It's completely different than what it might have been last year, or at least what we thought it was last year. It's completely different than last year's mentality, I think, and I'm here for it.
I think it's our mentality. I think we go out there every single drive with the mentality that we have to score. Coach Daggy always says choose violence, right? We're always going. We're just trying to attack and just make sure like we're not stepping on the field just to execute plays. Obviously that's part of everything, but we step on the field every time. We want to go in. We want to put the ball in the end zone.
And if that mentality was missing or it was a little muted, I think that's going to be jacked up to 11. Choose violence. Not actual violence, but choose violence. I get where he's going with that. Go out there and score. That's what her fans want to see. Go out there and try to score. And I'm not saying the team was not trying to score, but this offense, you want to put up points. That's the mentality here. We want to go out there and we want to put up points. You're trying to score every time you get the ball, but we want to go out there. We really want to go out there and start putting points on the scoreboard. I'm with you. I look back. Maybe I was a little, 56-10's boring. I don't think no, give me 56-10. I go back in my mind and think, I miss those days. Give me 50 points on somebody. Make a statement. I'm hoping that's what we get. I like what I saw on Saturday. What did you think? Now that you've heard a little bit more, Coach, now that you've seen a little bit more of what the team looked like on the field, more optimistic, less optimistic, about the same where I'm at right now. That's our text line question, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll hear a little bit from offensive lineman Bryce Ramsey. We'll run down some of the players leaving for the portal, some offers that are out there, all of that coming up when we continue on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Working Man Store in Huntington. Check out the biggest inventory of scrubs in West Virginia, featuring brands such as Healing Hands, Dickies, Cherokee, and Med Couture at the best price. Working Man Store has one of the largest selections of big and tall shirts, jackets, and jeans in the area. Working Man Store is the king of blue jeans with Levi's, Dickies, Carhartt, Lee, and Wranglers in sizes up to 72. And Working Man Store has the best selection of men's work boots and casual shoes anywhere at the best price. Working Man Store, open every day at 140 5th Avenue, Huntington.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From NCAA basketball, NBA, NHL, and MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Looking to sell your vehicle and receive well above current market value? You're in luck, because that's exactly what you'll get during the grand opening of the Glockner Buying Center at all Glockner locations. Glockner's partnership with Kelley Blue Book allows us to offer above current market value for your vehicle in under 15 minutes. No appointment necessary. Even if you choose not to buy from us, we will still buy from you. That's how easy it is to sell us your vehicle.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Sunflower Seeds will host an I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K Saturday, May 18th at Ritter Park. It starts at 9 o'clock. Visit TriStateRacer.com to register. T-shirts, canvas bags, and other items, part of the $25 pre-registration fee. Sunflower Seeds Incorporated is a tri-state area nonprofit established to raise awareness and resources for humanitarian aid to Ukrainian refugees. 17 million Ukrainians are in need of aid, and most of the refugees are women and children who want to remain near their Ukrainian homeland. To date, Sunflower Seeds has raised $40,000, and over 13,000 pounds of food and medical supplies have been delivered across 6 trips to Poland and beyond. Again, to be part of this I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K May 18th at Ritter Park at 9 o'clock, visit TriStateRacer.com to register.
Today, I'm up and I'm moving, parking a little farther away from the store to get some extra steps in. Today, I'm making healthy choices like fresh fruits and vegetables, lowering my A1C and improving my blood pressure. Today, the little things add up so that tomorrow I can celebrate what I did for my health today.
Sponsored by West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Public Health, Division of Health Promotion and Chronic Disease Prevention, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment of today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Text line the rest of the way, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Question of the day, what are you feeling now that you've seen the green and white game? Sorry, the spring game. Are you feeling more optimistic, less optimistic, or are you feeling about the same when it comes to Thundering Herd football? That's our text question of the day. Let's get you updated on at least what I have seen. This is not a complete list. It's never going to be a complete list. But some of the names I've seen in the portal today include quarterback TJ McMahon, wide receiver Antonio Robinson. I hate to see that. I thought that he had some potential for some growth with the Thundering Herd. Wide receiver Gerald Campbell, I've seen his name. So there are a few names that I've seen. I've seen some offers out there. Ivan Yates from Furman, defensive back, has gotten an offer from the Thundering Herd. Defensive lineman Clifton Mosley from Utah State, I've seen his name out there today. Also an offensive lineman from Colorado, Isaiah Jada. I've seen an offensive lineman from Northern Colorado offered, according to his Twitter, Austin Lawrence, and a defensive lineman from Arkansas Pine Bluff, Cameron Rutherford. So there's some names as we kind of try to keep track of everybody that's coming and going. I think it's a full-time job. Try to keep track of all these transfer portal names for all these schools. And, of course, we expected this. After spring games, you know where you stand. Are you going to make the team? Are you – and really, that's kind of a different concept. Are you going to play? You can be on the team, but are you going to play? You're going to get an opportunity to start, have meaningful minutes, or you don't like where you're at, you didn't like the work level, you didn't like how coach did things, you're in a hurry. There's a lot that goes into this transfer portal. So there are some names that are leaving, some names that are coming up that possibly could be joining the Thundering Herd. We'll kind of try to keep track of all of that. One player that I was really happy to talk to and impressed with was offensive lineman Bryce Ramsey. He was definitely fun to talk to on Saturday, and he talked a little bit about his performance and just his general thoughts after the game on Saturday.
I say I can improve a little better, but I'm gonna say as a whole, you see we let up a few sacks, but that comes with it. I'm gonna say, but we're gonna try not to do that. But I can say throughout the spring, I say I improved a lot better as a football player and as a man and a father. I'm gonna say that because it taught me a lot. I'm gonna say it taught me a lot more coming from Southern Miss to here, two different type programs. Like we work harder up here. I'm gonna say that, and it's like I feel like this is where I need to be. I'm gonna say that.
You hear that? He says we work harder up here. Talking about Southern Miss, we work harder up here. That's not to drop any shade on Southern Miss, but he says that this is a place where he feels like he can get better. And he talked a little bit about what he saw in Marshall and made him want to go from Southern Miss to the Thundering Herd.
Me leaving Southern Miss is it's just I could just say I wanted something. I'm not gonna say better, but I ain't gonna say something different as well. But something that's gonna help me improve in the long run. And I feel like Marshall was gonna be that place. Like we work harder. Our workouts are crazy, and it's that's what I love. The weight room, running, I love that. So I feel like it's gonna get me better in the long run as a person and as a player.
Say what you will about Marshall football, the workouts always get 5 stars. BA's definitely got something going, and you're going to have to work harder. With everything being the same, you're going to have to work harder. So it's fun to hear a guy like that. Just compare a school that we're familiar with, Southern Miss, who's had success in the past in football, to what Marshall had to offer him. Now, how has Ramsey adapted to the new scheme? Thought it'd be interesting to get a perspective from an offensive lineman.
I'm gonna say we adapted to it very well. I could say as a unit, we've improved since the beginning of the spring, since fourth quarter. We've been grinding through fourth quarter, grinding through spring, and I could say as a unit, we improved a lot, to be honest, especially later on in the spring. Right now.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk to the offensive linemen because I get to ask them, hey, what do you think about those guys on the other side, on the defensive side of the ball? Now, let's be fair. This is a spring game, so don't expect perfection. And I wasn't really expecting perfection anyway. But when you look at the game, if you were watching it, there were some moments, Coach Huff even talked about it, quarterbacks like to have some of those back. There were some moments like, oh, wow, and there were some other moments where things just blew up. Well, Ramsey talked about the defense, and he singled out a defensive lineman he battles every day, and Jason Shuford. Also, he talked a little bit about Michael Green. There were some bright spots on that defensive side of the ball, and it was fun to get Ramsey's thoughts on that Marshall defense.
Oh, I can say, I'm gonna say they're good. Especially is it Shuford? Yeah, me and him go at it every single day, every day at practice. So we give each other good work for real. And then especially with Mike Green coming off the edge when I pull, he coming down like a bat out of hell. I'm gonna say that. So he coming down hard. But yeah, I give credit to them guys for real, because they get us better, like as a unit, as an individual, and it's like we just got to keep doing that.
So how do you feel? Again, that was the question. More optimistic, less optimistic, about the same when it comes to Marshall football. From our text line, texter says, Paul, I feel about the same after watching the spring game. I'm going to do a wait-and-see approach. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to pull a Dan D'Antoni here on you. I don't want to get too high. I don't want to get too low. I'm going to try to stay a little even keel here. I don't want to peak. I don't want to get too down. I think we've got a lot to see before it's actually game time. There's a lot to do between now and the first game, the second game, the third game. There's a lot to do. And so the transfer portal also going to be in play. As I mentioned, there are a few offers that I've seen and spotted. There's a couple of offensive linemen, some defensive linemen. So you're going to see a lot of potential needs being addressed. Got to make sure that offensive line protects. Got to make sure that the quarterbacks can adapt, adjust, get the play off, especially in offense like this. And, of course, we're going to focus a little bit more on the running game tomorrow. We'll talk about that. We'll also hear from a few more players after the game on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what you thought about how this team performed on Saturday, comparing it to what expectations you had. I think it's fair to say, I think same to more optimistic is fair. That's a fair evaluation of where we're at right now with this team. I wasn't expecting lights out video game scores. I think what we saw was not scripted, but it was controlled, but at the same time there was some free flowing to it. And honestly, I like the format update. I'm absolutely happy with the format. It was more entertaining than just the old practice format. I know it's a practice, but I appreciated the fact that they went into more of a game mode, game situation. Wasn't stopping, okay, we're going to run this play now. It was more of, okay, here's this unit going up against this unit. We got to see a little bit more. It's not the finished product, but honestly, I think it was the highlight of the weekend. Unfortunately, it was kind of hit or miss when it came to softball and baseball this weekend. Tennis, on the other hand, did get its win, so it's going to be the number 2 seed, and the Thundering Herd will get ready for the tournament this week. We don't have an update just yet on any particulars, but it looks like the Herd right now, I believe, is in third, day 1 of the men's Sunbelt Golf Tournament. Hopefully that improves, but I'll take third right now. Third's okay. Golf's it's tricky with golf. It's not like football where you're going head-to-head against somebody directly. You're basically competing against yourself, the course. That's the big challenge there. So hopefully they can finish in the top part. I'd like to see them bring the golf championship home. That would be nice, but hopefully they can finish in the upper portion of the Sunbelt Tournament. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll talk more about the spring game. We'll look ahead to the week ahead. Baseball, softball, of course, tennis, and the Sunbelt Tournament. Try to make more sense of who's staying and who's coming when it comes to the transfer portal. And hopefully we'll see some more news when it comes to basketball. All of that coming up tomorrow. And don't forget, if you can, find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. You can also find our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. If you subscribe, it'll come right to your phone once it's uploaded. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.